Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings. We generally like to talk a load of bollocks about tabletop gaming in general. In this video we're going to be talking about a kiddie style Euro game. We're going to be talking about Flamecraft, and in this game you will be visiting shops with your dragons. You'll be collecting resources, you'll be trading these resources in for victory points that will allow you to win the game. So in this video I'm going to be giving you a very brief overview of the rules, telling you what we do like, we don't like. Then we'll come back and we'll tell you whether or not Flamecraft is worth your time and bother today and in the future. So remember, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. We'll see you after this.
Alex.
So, Flamecraft, how'd you play this game? So Flamecraft is a Euro-style kiddie sort of game. You're going to put the neoprene mat out in the centre of the table. You will take a dragon pawn. You'll populate the edges of the main board or mat with the starter shops, and you'll get a bunch of starter artisan dragons, right? On your turn, you will visit a shop, and then you will do one or two things. You will either gather or you will enchant. If you choose to gather, you'll look at all of the icons on the dragons on the shop, and you will gather that number of resources. You can't stay on the same shop, and if you go to a shop that has another player's dragon on it, you're going to have to gift them a resource of your choice to everyone that is already there, right? So once you've gathered all of the resources, then you can choose to place a dragon in one of these spots on the shop. You'll take an artisan dragon from your hand, and you will match the icon on the artisan dragon card with the icon on the empty slot on the shop, and you'll place your dragon there, and you'll get the bonus that's on the shop space, right? Then you get the option to fire up a dragon. You can use the fire ability of one of the artisan dragons at the shop, right? And if you want it, you can use the shop's ability. The starter shops don't have any abilities, and once you have filled up all of the slots on a shop, then you will reveal a new one and stick it in one of the empty spaces around the map, right? So if you choose to enchant a shop rather than gather, you will choose one of the enchantment cards that is face up on the map. You'll trade in the resources that are on that card. Remember, coins count as a wild card, don't they? They can replace any other resource, right? And then you'll slot that card in the top of the shop, making sure that you only enchant a shop that's got a matching symbol with the enchantment card and on the shop, right? And that will increase the amount of resources that you get of that type from the shop when you visit it, right? Then you get to fire up all of the dragons at the shop, not just one, all of them. And then once you've taken your action, then you'll do a little bit of cleanup. You'll expand the town if you filled up any of the empty slots on the shop. You'll reveal a new one. You'll have to discard down to 7 of each resource. You can only have up to 7 of each of them, right? Which is a bit of a bummer because I kind of like toast, you know what I mean?
A little piece of toast.
And then you'll refresh the part where you get the artisan dragons from, and you'll refresh the enchantments, yeah? So the game ends when you draw the last artisan dragon card from the deck, or the enchantment deck is run out. Then everybody else, including that player that started the endgame sequence, gets one final turn, and then the player with the most points will be the winner of Flamecraft. So what do we like about Flamecraft? So the first thing that we really like about this is that the theme is absolutely delightful. It gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling deep inside, right? The artwork on this game is fantastic. They've really worked hard to give a nice personality to this game. And the puns on the shops are mildly amusing. I mean, I wasn't sort of bent over double, extricating myself from a guffaw. And there's a truckload of different shops. I mean, you're probably going to be using about 10 in each game. And there's a massive chunk of these. You might have the So Cute shop, and its special ability is gain 1 victory point for each dragon type in the town that matches your shop reward. Or you might have the Scale Mail post, and it says draw 2 fancy dragons and keep 1 and give 1 to another player for 4 victory points. Fancy dragons give you extra points if you can fulfill what is on the card, so it gives you a little pathway through the game, right? So yeah, the theme is fantastic, detail in the artwork is absolutely stupendous, and the production quality is second to none. So the second thing that we like about this is the game keeps giving you an abundance of stuff. It is insane that there is a cap on 7 resources of each type. When we first played this, we thought, well, we're never going to get to 7, but in the end we ended up with a pile of tokens. You could see Charles and Diana taking a well-earned break on its lower slopes. This is one of the things that we like most about modern board games, is games that keep giving you stuff all the way throughout the game, and there's no real limit to what you're going to be able to do with it, right? So yeah, if you like games that just keep throwing stuff at you again and again and again, and you end up with so much stuff that you don't know what to do with it, except give it away to other people, then this is a game for you, right? So the final thing that we like about Flamecraft is that the dragon abilities are easy to understand. The designers could have gone for individual, more complicated dragon abilities, but it's just a case that you can look at the dragon, see what type it is, and then you will know exactly what it does. So, for instance, the Anvil Dragons, they've all got different names, by the way. So, if you're talking about Patina, then the fire up ability is gain 2 of 1 good from a shop or dragon here. If you go to a meat dragon, in this instance, we're talking about Potato, and his or her or their ability is place a dragon in town. Or if you're talking about the Weed Dragon, in this case, Olive, it says gift a good to another player or gain 2 victory points. So, they could have gone for something a little bit more complex, but in doing this, it makes the game easier to understand. This is good because when you get to the latter stages of the game, things do open up a little bit. And with the shop abilities and all of the fancy dragons, it could have been quite difficult to compute in your brain. So don't we like about Flamecraft? So the first thing we don't like about Flamecraft is that the penalties for going to shops that are already populated are quite weak. I mean, just giving away 1 resource isn't going to stop you from going anywhere. Had the penalties been a little bit more mean, then you would have had to think twice about going to a shop that you really wanted to go to, and the risk-reward ratio would have been greater. But as it stands, you'll just be strolling around going, well, yeah, there's 2 people in there. They can both take a bit of my meat, and it just feels a little bit weird where there's a penalty, but it just ends up not being a penalty at all. So the second thing that we don't like about Flamecraft is at lower player counts, the shops do tend to fill up at a snail pace speed. If you're playing with 5 players, where people are going to be playing more artisan dragons, when it comes around to your turn, they're going to be populated more broadly, right? And this gives you both less choice, more choice as well. You're going to be able to fire up those dragons if you get the enchantments, but there's going to be less spaces for you to go to when you place your dragons out, right? So that gives you a better choice. When there's only 2 players, somebody's going to be placing a dragon out, and you're going to be placing a dragon out, and it feels like the shops are a little bit empty, a bit like my local shopping centre, right? So yeah, it is a shame that there is no Woolworth shop in this, and even if it did have one, then at 2 players it would probably close down. So the final thing we don't like about Flamecraft, and this is something that the game doesn't have as opposed to it does have, right? That is the absence of individual player powers. When I played this with my kids, they were all saying, hang on a minute, none of them have got special abilities, and they were crying out for something to differentiate themselves between each other, right? Think of King of Tokyo before the Power Up expansion. Even though the characters were all different, all had their own personality, they all acted the same. And it's the same with Flamecraft, right? I would have liked something in the game to make me feel like I'm more powerful than somebody else, but an ability that's balanced all the way through the game. But it's not there. Maybe that is something for an expansion. I think there probably will be an expansion in this, because I don't know if it was a mistake, but in our set we got more dragons than we needed, so it might be pushed up to maybe 6 or 8 players in the future. And if it does, some individual player powers would be a bonus, wouldn't it? So, to summarise, is Flamecraft worth your time and bother today and in the future? So we're going to say yes, Flamecraft could well be the love child bastard of Haber and Hams Unglück. The theme is unthreatening, as is the gameplay, and it offers a simple move, acquire, spend turn flow that avoids unnecessary complications. It does suffer from its reluctance to be a little bit nasty, but having said that, does a great job of occupying the often neglected space between kiddies game and lightweight Euro. So there you go, that's Flamecraft. Remember, if you're newer, then please consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. See you next time.